Ahoy, fellow teeth sharpeners.
And welcome aboard the Joy of Trek, a time-traveling podcast exploring the divine treasury and the vault of eternal destitution of Star Trek.
All of it.
I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
And disguised as a very good dog is your chief engineer, Greg.
Together, we're on a mission through the usual spot of Star Trek to find the poison in every Australian and the excellence in every episode.
Even the sodium pentothal.
Because every episode must be someone's favorite, and it might as well be us.
So sell your childhood possessions and join us as we invade Cleveland into the joy of Trek. Little Green Man, we're doing Little Green Man, everyone. I hope you're as excited as I was to find out that this was the one that we were going to be doing.
Episode 408 of Deep Space Nine.
First aired November 15th, 1995. Story by Tony Mainbury and Jack Trevino. Teleplay by Ira Stephen Bear and Robert Hewitt Wolfe. And directed by James L. Conway.
James L. Conway, yes, in which the Ferengi decide to invade Earth in order to take it over with their commercial empire.
The only one I question there is decide. Ooh, through circumstances.
They are given the opportunity.
Yeah.
Rule of acquisition number 9, I believe. Once you seize opportunity, you don't let go of it.
Oh, nice.
No, I just totally made that up.
No.
It sounds...
Stick with it. Kay, you totally had me. Oh, James L. Conway. Here's a fun bit of trivia that has no bearing on anything. Do you know how a Quark spaceship is stored in Hangar 18?
Yes.
You actually do?
Sorry. Well, no, it was yes, go on.
Oh, okay. Well, James L. Conway also directed a sort of Roswell crash-themed film called Hangar 18.
Ah,
yeah.
There you go. Not even Area 50. I mean, yeah, Area 51 would have been the obvious. Is there Area 51 not near Roswell? I have no idea where Area 51 is.
Area 51, I want to say, is Nevada.
Yeah,
that feels
that's not too far from New Mexico.
New Mexico, but it's
more or less adjacent. Okay, of course, in the US, adjacent can still mean...
Yeah, I was going to say, that can be like, so it's either Germany or Poland, which is like, basically...
Fair.
Oh, you had to spark just a little bit of curiosity in me, so I may have just gotten myself on some government watch list by looking up the distance and how to travel to Area 51 from Roswell. So Area 51 to Roswell is right around 900 miles of distance. And the comparison for European listeners, at the very least, would be it's roughly the distance between Lille, France, which is in the north of Paris, fairly close to Brussels, to Warsaw, Poland. So near-ish by the US standards, but if you're talking European standards, that is not near. That is very not near.
And this week's episode was recommended to us quite a while ago, actually, by Brian Love, known as Blackrain, who also does a podcast, having been inspired, he said, by you and me, about Gold Digger.
Oh.
If you're familiar with it. It's a comic series.
Old comic series, fairy comic series from back in the 90s, isn't it?
Yeah. And much in the way that I was leading you by the nose ring through the dusty trails of Farscape, he's got a co-host who's also new to the comic. And we're discussing it together.
So you read an episode every week, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be fantastic. You have to like a podcast. It sounds a bit like this. Oh. Oh, wow. No, really?
And then in the top left corner, there's a big sun. And then in the top right corner, there's an arrow pointing. I've listened to a few episodes and it's good fun. But Blackrain says, when you ask for an episode, I thought hard about one. Thinking over all the past Star Trek series I have watched, and this was the first episode that popped to my mind. I always found it fun when sci-fi TV shows would try to put their twist on the Roswell alien crash conspiracy theory. Whether you believe it's true or not, each take on it is wonderful to see. Star Trek was just another one to jump on the Roswell crash boat, but didn't have the normal DS9 bridge crew crash land on Earth. Nope, they had the Ferengis, Quark, Rom, and Nog. It had the classic first contact trope, miscommunication, the 1940s biases, and conspiracy-minded, all topped off with Quark being a Ferengi trying to sell stuff to the humans.
Yeah.
Love how Quark says humans. This was also one where Rom starts showing his smart and dominant side to Quark.
Yes.
Just look at Rom's face at the end of the episode.
Yes.
No words are said, but you know what he's thinking and that he has that mischievous grin on his face.
With his little snaggle tooth.
I know. Y'all said in a past episode, a lot of people didn't like the episodes with Ferengi in them. I love all the episodes that have Ferengis in them or feature them. DS9 really helped to develop and advance what their culture and species was from when they first showed up in TNG. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, I mean, it is quite a well-beloved episode. Sci-Fi Now ranks it in the top 10 episodes of DS9. Remarking that although episodes about the Ferengi are usually divisive, this one is a joy. And yes, it's in top 100 this, top thing. It's in loads of top lists of everything.
I think Stephen Bear called it like the second best episode that they've ever done.
Which is interesting because Jammer's review says the plot is pretty much by the numbers. Other than that, there's not much to say about Little Green Men. There's nothing inherently bad about it. It'll hold your attention and keep you amused, but that's about all. Just an hour of fluff, which
okay, each to their own. But man.
Oh no, I disagree. It's like it's fun, but yeah, it's kind of true, but it's kind of being a little bit too harsh on it.
Look, if that's not what you're looking for in a science fiction series or in Star Trek, that's totally fine. But there's something so gonzo about taking such an established set of tropes of Star Trek and just ignoring that for a little bit and doing something else. We're just going to space Scotland to fuck some ghosts.
Sure,
we're going to follow these. Yeah, exactly. We're going to follow these inane little aliens as they're doing their various schemes. This was, I think, the first time that the Ferengi were given a sort of family outing.
Oh, yes.
And then it was realized just how well that worked. That they're a fantastic sort of dynamic, how they sort of undermine one another, and they all have slightly different values, but they do have a lot of overlap as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can understand that, but surely it must have biased toward the positive.
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah, I was going to say, it's like if you look at the general reception, then it's like, yeah, it's in loads. I think it's at least 5 or 6, maybe even more, top list of this, top episodes of DS9, top episodes of Star Trek overall. And
right.
It's like, yeah, it's in a lot of much wash. Jesus. It's in a lot of much.
It's in, no, you go there.
It's in a lot of must-watch lists.
Okay, let's say it 10 times. It's in a lot of must-watch lists.
It's actually quite an accidental tongue twister there.
A lot of must-watch lists. I've got a little list. I've got a must-watch list. Okay, then let's warp into the episode.
All right, everyone, gather around. We're about to start. When a young Ferengi goes out on his own, he traditionally raises capital by selling his boyhood treasures. As you know, my son Nog will be leaving shortly for Earth and Starfleet Academy. I'm going to miss him, and I know you will too. And what better way to remember him than to purchase one of his very own personal belongings?
So, what are you buying off the table?
I actually didn't look close enough. They don't show us all the
No, they don't.
There.
No, it's just random stuff. I wonder what those kind of like goat horn type things are that you see.
Oh, interesting.
The ones in front of Jatsia.
Oh, right. Yes, I see what you mean. They sort of look. Yeah, I'm getting those. Like whatever they are, I'm intrigued.
Maybe it's for Umox.
Ooh, yeah, I'm into that. I'll try that. Something weird about buying a Teen Boys sex toys,
right?
Actually, but
I don't think you have the lobes for Umox, but
hey, size isn't everything, man. Worf's there too.
I didn't expect to see you here, Mr. Worf.
Captain Sisko made it a personal request that I attend.
And he expresses some reservation about a Ferengi joining Starfleet, and O'Brien scolds him. Rightly so.
Of the Klingons, yes.
And the captain shows up to sort of advise them, no, this isn't about mingling. This is about supporting a young man in a Ferengi family tradition. Go and buy some stuff.
Which is pretty much the only time we see Sisko this entire episode.
Oh, good point.
Yeah. That's literally, they kind of had to shoehorn him in here at the beginning, and that's it.
Oh, I love how Nog is in his element here. Like, he's so excited to be selling everything, even to his dad.
I don't know about you, but I'm buying these pajamas.
That'll be 3 strips of platinum.
2.
So.
Yeah. Oh, my boy's all grown up, and he's so proud. He sells his favorite porn to Bashir, which
Yes.
Jadzia
Buys
buys
for
him.
him, yeah.
Consider it a gift. Not sure how to take that.
What's it called again? The spring ball racket to Kira, which I don't think she ends up selling it.
No.
It's kind of implied that she just takes it back.
Yeah, because
Nog quickly finds something else to do.
she says, "Where did you get this?" Yeah, how about from my quarters? I've been looking for this for 2 years.
And it was sitting here on the bar all along. That's incredible.
And there's someone over there that I need to go talk to.
And this is where Worf finds his tooth sharpener.
Right, the one that was stolen by the guy who fell from the ceiling in...
Exactly, by the ceiling alien in the other episode. Oh.
It must not be too long after this one, because he was still adjusting to life on DS9 at that point.
That's right. Chief, which episode was that?
So that episode was Bar Association 416, a little bit after this one. But yeah, Worf is definitely still not used to living on DS9 at this point.
Thank you.
But yes, he immediately he looks at it, he goes like, no, and he tries
no.
it again, and it's like, oh.
How much?
Yeah, immediately.
And you can see Nog's expression is like, oh, you're going to pay so much too much for that.
Yeah.
It's like he can tell, like, okay, yeah.
Yay.
It's like, never show too much enthusiasm
Easy
to a
mark.
salesman, and it's...
But Quark arrives not interested in the festivities. He even deliberately says so to Rom. No,
Yeah.
I hate the idea that my nephew's going to Starfleet
I'm
Academy.
definitely not encouraging him
Yeah.
by buying anything. So, yeah. But he tells Rom that finally his cousin came true on a long-standing promise that he would buy him a ship.
Quark's treasure.
Ah.
Oh. And he insists that Rom leave this momentous occasion to go and inspect the ship.
Because knowing our cousin is probably defective merchandise.
I better have a look at it.
What a wonderful idea.
Poor Rom.
Yes.
Like, you couldn't wait an hour.
Yeah, just like to let him to be with his... Actually, it doesn't work. Oh, no, wait. Is that later? I don't know what...
That is later.
Right.
That is the episode where he... I think that's the very one that we're thinking of.
Yeah, it's the Bar Association.
Yes. Yes, that's where he leaves to join... Was that right? Actually, this is confusing.
The strike breaking episode.
Yes. Yes, that is
Bar Association.
where he becomes an engineer.
Yeah, at the end of that, he decides to...
I'm hedging a little bit, because what if Chief actually said a different answer?
Oh.
And now we're so confident. Then we look so foolish. Oh, but what if we got it right? And then I undermined that confidence by pointing it out. Oh, no!
Stop second-guessing yourself, Cocky.
I'm in fourth guessing by now.
I'm sure that our chief engineer can sort it out and make us sound great like he always does.
Yeah, for those of you listening at home, if you ever go, oh, well, these sound like some bumbling idiots who can't get their thoughts together, this is like miles ahead of what we're actually like. So thank you, Chief.
That's why we never did a live episode.
Hey, look, I have to do some job on it here, because otherwise, like, it's just me in the corner doing nothing. So I may as well have some fun with it. I could make you guys sound a lot worse if I really wanted to, but where's the fun in that? I care about you guys. I want to make you sound good. Sometimes I want to use my powers for evil, but I'm usually pretty good, right? I haven't beamed you out into space yet.
I love Quark's treasure, which now I say it sort of sounds a little bit more anatomical than really it ought to, but
Yes.
it's got a little captain's chair.
It's better than calling Quark's family jewels, but, you know.
It's got all these lights and panels all around. Oh, I wonder if the Ferengi ship in Acquisition had any shades of this, now I think about it. It's got a big chair in the middle,
Oh, yes.
but that's not unusual for these kind of ships. But it's got all these orange and ochre lights.
Wouldn't that be a good name for the Acquisition as a name for a Ferengi ship?
Ooh, yeah. Sort of in the line of like the Enterprise meeting the Acquisition.
Yes.
Yeah? Oh, although in the 31st century, or the 32nd century, as we learn in the later seasons of Discovery, there is a ship named for a Ferengi, the USS Nog.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. It's a mighty craft.
So, the ship, much to everybody's surprise, really,
Yeah.
is in perfect order.
This ship could outrun a Romulan interceptor. We could take it halfway across the galaxy before it would even need a maintenance check.
Which is the same speed everybody else goes.
Yeah, but maybe he's talking about that it can sustain that speed for longer, or... and it said you can go halfway across the galaxy before it'll need a maintenance check.
Unless you go out of warp, but yeah.
Very impressive. And Quark is so excited. He's got opportunities. And Rom is so excited for his brother.
Maybe it's time you considered that early retirement we talked about. I could take over the bar, and you could fly off into the great unknown, never to return.
Yes. That side eye that Quark gives him is like, don't get your hopes up. It's
And
So,
he
let's
has
go.
something for his brother. Because it needs a what is it called, a shakedown cruise.
Yes. So let's go and take a longish trip to a safe place.
Like
Earth.
Earth?
Yeah. Why not Earth? Because it's going to be profitable.
Poor Rom thinks it's all about his son's induction into Starfleet, because if he has to go to Starfleet Academy, he might as well travel in style.
Yes. It reminds me of that joke about some Middle Eastern prince getting sent to London to go to university. And his dad gives him a Ferrari.
Oh, yeah.
And afterwards, after a week or two, that's like, how's it going? It's like, is ever working fine out with the Ferrari? And he goes like, well, yes, it's a great car, but I'm a little bit embarrassed because most of my fellow students, they just take the train into university. And he goes like, oh, good, I've sent you another 100 million. Go buy a train too.
Whoa. Yeah. Oof. Funny. Money's funny, isn't it? Sort of class divisions are funny, aren't they? These are these amazing jokes to laugh at while lots of people are struggling to find an affordable home in a massive city that insists on just building more homes for millionaire students from abroad. But anyway, sorry.
So yes, after
I didn't even live in London. I don't know why I was channeling that.
After the intro, we have Quark, who is giving Morn a little tour of the bar here. Like, here's the codes, here's that. Don't extend any runs of time.
What's up with handing the keys to the bar over to Morn?
Well, he doesn't trust any of his waiters to do it, so...
Oh, that's true.
I'm sure Morn will do an excellent job as long as he doesn't drink up all your profits.
Better him than one of my Ferengi waiters. They'd rob me blind.
I mean, who else would you ask to do it? I mean, none of the Starfleet personnel are going to do it because they've got their own. They've got their own job. So you need to find someone else.
Yeah.
So either you bring in one of the Ferengi, or you invent a completely new character. Well, maybe one of the Domjot girls, but Dabo girls. Yes, I mean that would have worked.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about, are there Domjot girls, and are they like heavily bespiked, tattooed like punk chicks? You know, like pool cue lesbians.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly
are great protectors.
Where my mind was going as well.
No, there are many sects of lesbianism.
I know.
They're all awesome, and I have a particular fondness for the pool cue lesbians of Amsterdam, who have protected us many times.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, it's an unusual choice because Morn, he's a funny-looking fellow with limited priorities.
You know, everybody gets along with him, and he's very funny, and he was very good looking. Although he's more so when he still had his hair.
Yeah, and he's an impassioned lover, according to everything we hear about them. But the last advice he gives is keep your eye on him, pointing at Odo.
Yes, who is standing there lurking.
You're right. He does a lurk first and then a scoff after. And he's got this placid grin, like, oh, what a nice gesture to bring your nephew to Starfleet. Oh, that's so warm-hearted of you. They really do just need to don't they?
You'd think so, yes.
But maybe this is just how they like it.
I guess it's one of those things that'll always remain a mystery.
And another long-term relationship is briefly explored as Jake and Nog stand by the corner up on the upper floor of the promenade.
Doing a little bit of reminiscing about the time that they've spent there together.
Yeah.
When they weren't Domjot hustling or started working the Bajoran loading docks, I believe.
Yeah. And then they're just sort of hung out there with their legs dangling over the side since they were...
Wee lads.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, 4 years ago at this point, so yes.
Hey, for teenage boys, that's... for
True,
teenagers,
that's half a lifetime.
Yeah, exactly. And they've had a lot of experiences since then. Nog wasn't able to read when they first met. That's something that Jake helped him with.
Yes.
That became a bonding experience. And their parents tried to keep them apart, or Quark and Captain Sisko did.
Yeah.
Which, good luck stopping a blossoming young friendship that has been so formative for both of them. You have a bestie at that age?
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. We mostly bonded over science fiction role-playing games.
Yeah, same.
So.
I mean, I think that's true for a lot of people who listen to this episode right now.
That was a good spot.
The best.
Dr. Bashir and Chief O'Brien rock up.
Yes.
And Nog gets real defensive.
Doctor, if you're trying to return something from the sale...
It's a going-away present to help you get around easier on Earth.
But no, they present him with a book, How to Score with Human Chicks, I believe.
Earth girls are easy. You don't need a book.
Yeah.
And the boys do, and the NBs. But it's a compendium of all Earth knowledge, fully interactive and informative, to help him get around Earth. Which is a really thoughtful gift.
Yes. Although you'd think that, if he's in Starfleet, does he have a lot of time to do that sort of thing?
You'd think that Starfleet would provide that.
Yes.
Or,
They would have an indoctrination session.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what it's called.
I know.
Okay, but you say it like it's still...
Indoctrination still involves, Clockwork Orange imagery with me.
I know. It's just our limited use of the words just being read in, right? Lots of universities must have, a program for expat students.
Oh, yes.
To sort of integrate them and language lessons. Well, not so necessary considering that everybody has their universal translator drilled into their skull.
Or into the ear in the case of the Ferengi.
And they shake his hand. He's not a boy anymore. He's a grown man. He's going off to Starfleet.
Good luck, Nog. Make us proud.
Sisko almost sends a warning message towards Starfleet headquarters saying that, there's a couple of Ferengi on their way.
And that's the last we see of the bridge crew.
So actually, I was wrong. That was not the last time that that was not the only appearance of Sisko, but this is his second appearance in the episode, and that is it.
On the shuttle, which is a lovely design. I think we've seen that kind of shuttle before. It sort of looks like a tick.
Oh, yes. I see what
right?
you mean. Yeah.
Big old bum, tiny little front piece, and it's got these mandible claws.
I guess that's the warp nacelles, and then the big butt body is the cargo space, because it's a Ferengi shuttle.
Oh, yeah. They're all trading craft.
Yeah.
There's the big sort of glowing hemisphere in front of Rom that he's using somehow to control. That's how Ferengi interfaces work. Quark is sitting bored in his captain's chair. He's dressed once again in his... Is it his bisexual or his trans
This
pride?
is trans pride.
This is trans pride,
yes.
right? Jacket. Looks very good on him. While Nog is regaling them with everything that he's learning about these humans that...
It says here that humans didn't even have currency until 5,000 years ago, let alone banking, speculative investments, or a unified global economy.
Ferengi probably invented a unified system of currency before both the wheel and the underarm deodorant. So,
I think they might have invented the earplug first. That might have been oh shit, there's so much stuff. I'm just going to want something in there.
Just put some parsley in your ears.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, sort of highlighting the differences in how technologies were developed. I mean, they went from being savages to one of the leaders of the galactic economy in 5,000 years.
Yeah.
We had those things earlier, but all the other developments took us way longer.
It took us twice as long to establish the Ferengi Alliance, and we had a biwarp technology from the...
5,000, 10,000.
And then he gets interrupted. The bit of lore could have been added to Star Trek. That wouldn't matter, but we've been so excited.
So I guess clearly it wouldn't have been a federation. Because
they had warp already before humans went out.
Oh, right.
As we saw.
Yeah. Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, so, but they still had, they had to buy it rather than invent it themselves, yes.
Yeah, who would they have bought it
But
from?
clearly, again, not someone who didn't have any prime directive issues, but yes, I guess prime directives from later. So, yeah, it makes sense. So I noticed something about the lighting, especially in the beginning, that it seemed like a very clear and bright, which did not always do it justice, because especially Nog's makeup in this scene looks a bit janky. Same as
I know exactly what you mean.
Same as later on when they're on Earth. There's one scene where you can really very clearly see
the prosthesis
exactly on Quark. Yeah, yep. I noticed that. It's like something that doesn't really tend to jump out in Star Trek.
Well, on Quark, the design is really integrated. Like Armin Sheerman also has facial features that are just accentuated. That's where they put the crease for his prosthetic.
Right, yes, of course.
So it is noticeable, but then you go, okay, maybe that's just how his face works.
But
I saw it with Nog.
It really jumped out to me.
Because when he's got the side lights, you know, highlighting, then it actually looks like it's the wrong color compared to his actual skin. Good eye, by the way. Look at you pointing out the lighting.
Oh, I'm already going 0.2 warp over its recommended cruising speed.
Go another point.
I mean, it's recommended cruising speed. It's like do not exceed speed. You know, those are different things.
Yeah, but there's a cost.
There's
cost in maintenance.
Yeah, maintenance, probably a little bit more antimatter usage
true.
and stuff like that.
But like as excited as he's been
yes.
for this ship, like he's already bored because it's taken so long, because he's fucking Quark.
Relax, brother. I know chemosite is unstable, but another day or two won't make any difference.
What do you mean? You know, the chemosite. The chemosite.
That you're smuggling.
Yeah.
Smuggling.
Yeah. Cusco's
Ferengi's
poison. The poison for Cusco. Being very subtle.
Quark's chemosite.
And he asks how Rom figured that out. And he says, well, I noticed that the weight distribution was wrong, so when you went to take a massive shit, I had a look, and so I found out. So, yeah, let me guess, you want in. And so do you, probably, right?
20%, yes.
And Nog goes, well, as a Starfleet officer. Oh, let's do it with an accent. As a Starfleet officer, I'm obliged to report any crime to the authorities.
We are not doing fanfic readings from...
I think perhaps we might be, though. Maybe during one of our Patreon sort of adventures, which I don't know if people will have heard this by now, but I do believe that we've called our Patreon supporters lemon-stealing whores,
yes.
And maybe gotten away with it.
We're not sure at this point yet if it's going to stick or not. But
it's kind of weird, right? Now we're stuck behind the temporal vortex, but where normally we have the opportunity to pierce that vortex and speak with our engineer, and we use that to watch an episode of Star Trek together, maybe we'll do a reading sometime.
Yeah. Oh, dear. I mean, there was something talk about like doing... Didn't you ask me the other day if I wanted to read... What was it called again? The thing?
I've already forgotten, Kay. I know that there was something. Chief, can you scroll up in our chat and see what we're talking about? It was yesterday, whatever that means.
Is that counting for the temporal warp or not?
Oh, no, it's going to take him so long. But that's okay, because it'll just be compensated for us by the temporal vortex.
Yeah, so unfortunately I wasn't able to find what you said. I have the date when this was recorded, which helps me to find it, but I don't see that you mentioned anything about reading on that yesterday, which is now like over a month ago. Time is weird. Okay, yeah, no, I don't get this. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry I can't help you here. You're on your own sometimes. Like, I can only do so much. Look, I don't care what Scotty says. Sometimes I'm not a miracle worker. Sometimes I am, but not right now.
Anyway, one thing I did love about that scene is like this little exchange right at the end of it is when Quark asks, like, when did you get to be so smart? And Rom shoots back at him. It's like,
I've always been smart, brother. I've just lacked self-confidence.
How do you know this about yourself? I'm not advanced.
I know, right?
Like, this is such a huge breakthrough. Not only were you smart, but you also knew this.
Yes. It's just very...
And you continue to.
Yeah.
Oh, Rom, you're fantastic.
But it's interesting to see how he's like already definitely started to develop here, and how that then
good point.
Builds up to bar association, where he decides to like, okay, now I've learned how to be assertive, and I'm going to GTFO.
Yeah, on to the next thing that he's now ready for.
So, approaching Earth.
And Nog is still so excited with his book that he got from the Doctor and the Chief, and he's showing, hey...
Father, have you ever heard of the Bell riots?
Don't bother me now.
But doesn't this Gabriel Bell human look just like Captain Sisko?
Which, well...
there was a time travel.
Yeah, there was a previous time travel episode in which...
Oopsie doodle. And Quark just got, all humans
whatever,
like
yeah.
Racist! But their attention is soon diverted because there's a bomb on the bus.
Yes.
We can't go any slower, says Rom.
The ship could continue accelerating until it tears itself apart and scatters our remains halfway across the quadrant.
It shouldn't be able to fail like this unless it was designed to fail.
Jayla! What can we do? And Rom says, well, we could vent a little warp plasma into the cargo hold.
Yes, the chelosite or whatever it's called.
Start a chain reaction with the chemosite, which we can modulate and create an inverse resonance wave, which can break our warp bubble.
Which ends up beautifully tearing the shuttle apart. I mean, that's what the effect looks like. It's kind of like...
It does a bit, doesn't it?
It's kind of like disintegrating in the sand.
And at this point, you also see just a little bit of that sort of streaking effect.
Yes.
When Quark is screaming.
Yeah.
Sort of reminiscent of the time warp in The Voyage Home, the one with the whale.
Yes.
And he wakes up in an unfamiliar place.
When I wake up in the morning, I know I'm gonna be the one who wakes up
next to you. There we go.
And I would warp 500 miles, and I would warp 500 more.
Well, he does wake up next to Rom and Nog, so...
Yeah, covered in white blankets.
And
There's a mobile fan in the background, and they're in a doctor's office, what looks like.
And then we get this lovely film noir type shot of a U.S. serviceman lighting up a cigarette with a Zippo and then picking up the telephone and tell it.
Get me General Denning. Tell him one of the Martians is awake.
And we see that it is July 1947.
Yeah, they've got a little 40s pin-up calendar. Oh, immediately you're just transported. What a wonderful thing it must have been to see this for the first time and not know what was happening and to just see this. Because it's so recognizable to me as a fan of certain genres in the 1990s. Like, X-Files was filmed like this with these sharp shadows.
Yeah.
Right? A Space Above and Beyond. I got that vibe as well.
No, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Also from X-Files alumni.
But it's clearly borrowing from a much older style of movie making. Yeah.
Oh, yes. They had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
The writers talked about how they tried to integrate tropes, not just from science fiction or from the sort of modern perspective of the Roswell crash incident, supposedly whatever happened there, but also like 1950s B-movies. So really like filling the plot with all these stock characters. You had the romance between the two scientists. You had the empathetic nurse, the curious scientist, the various brutal...
Gruff general, the ambitious and brutal lieutenant or whatever it is. I don't know. I think that's lieutenant, yeah.
And smoking.
Everybody's fucking smoking.
Yeah, the studio was initially not happy about it, but the writers went, oh, you really can't do 1940s without having people smoking.
Yeah.
It's just one thing. Ira Stephen Bear kind of regretted that the smoking was sort of pointed out so obviously, that it was called out, oh, tobacco is bad for you, because it just went a little bit too hard, he thought.
Yes. I mean, I guess the Paramount Studio XX wanted that to definitely be put in there. Because, I mean, there's like Quark's lines like...
If they'll buy poison, they'll buy anything. I think I'm going to like it here.
Yeah. It's well integrated.
Although, yeah, the implications are interesting because there's a lot of back and forth about drug trade especially with Quark around DS9 and Odo being on that.
Yeah.
So why are those drugs illegal if they are not harmful?
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like, oh yeah, well, these drugs are bad for you. It's like, okay, but like all those other drugs, like
why are too awesome?
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah,
and they, they counteract workahol, so we can't have those.
Right. Yeah, well,
they make people, then we have to up the workahol level because people's tolerances increase. So no. We'll just stick with synthahol. Oh, Ira Stephen Bear mentioned another film, which I unfortunately don't recall right now, but it was a 50s B movie that, like many of those, features people smoking, but like took it to such an extreme. He mentioned every scene, someone would be lighting up. Anytime they have a problem, people would just start handing out cigarettes immediately.
I mean, yes, not unusual.
Yeah. And I sort of wonder whether that was, just a kind of tasteless representation of what life looked like when tobacco was a common product. Or maybe they had a little sponsorship from Marlboro or American.
Tobacco was very ubiquitous.
Yeah, it was.
Even closer than people like to think that. I mean, these days it's like, especially around here, it's like almost unheard of smoking indoors. Even 10 years ago, that was still pretty normal. Huh? Yeah, I mean that's around. I think about 10 years at this point is when they started banning indoor smoking.
Yes, in workplaces, because in the Netherlands that was the...
But also in bars and stuff like this, which, that's someone's workplace, yeah.
Exactly.
It's like a bit of a nasty workaround around...
I never agreed with that perspective. There was this idea that as an employee you have a right to a smoke-free workplace, right?
And they use that to just put a ban on indoor smoking.
That is just incompatible with the services. Although some managed to sort of work around it, like the coffee shop Boat in our town,
right,
has all the employees behind partitions. So
true. No,
they don't interact with the smoke environment. There have been other workarounds, such as making all the staff and all the guests sign in to become members of the smoking club.
Yes.
Which has just temporarily hired out this bar, from Monday morning 9:05 to Sunday evening 11:55. Just the meeting of the smokers club.
So they are in the examination room.
Yeah, it looks like a doctor's office. There's medical charts on the walls. There's beds already. There's just a lot of stuff around that I don't necessarily know that's where I'd want to put prisoners that I was observing. And also,
No, true.
if it's a doctor's examination room, why is there a one-way mirror or a two-way mirror, however you describe that?
I mean, this is the Roswell place. This is where they examine the aliens. So,
I mean, it is now.
I know. That was a joke.
That's just... okay. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. So all the Americans are watching them from behind glass, but they can't understand what our three Ferengi are saying.
Yep.
And we get to hear examples of the Ferengi language.
Gross Vokton.
Yeah. Hey, this is great because some wonderful nerds have sort of pieced together what the writers might have thought were various pronouns, like grin for the second person singular or yup for the first person. These monosyllabic words and sentences being strung together. Who do you think does the best job at speaking Ferengi?
Didn't really pay a lot of attention to that.
No?
I think Nog, maybe? I'm sorry, not Nog. Rom, yes.
I do too.
Yeah.
Because he brings an effortlessness, a sort of, and a speed to his sentences.
It makes it roll off his tongue more naturally than especially Quark does.
So the Americans are discussing...
Yes, they immediately draw, like, oh, he's tugging the door, all the pistons come out.
And we learn the different sort of vibes that are here. We've got a scientist in the middle, a blue-eyed gentleman with grey on his temples.
Who is not particularly enthusiastic about being the one who's like, oh, yeah, you're the scientist, you get to, like, try to communicate.
Yeah, you're
good luck.
The professor.
You're it.
And you're the... Yeah, no, I don't get to bring in any specialists now.
No, because too many people already know about this, so we're trying to keep this under wraps.
And you also happen to be our nurse's boyfriend, so
yes,
we sort of had you in the family. I mean, that probably... If this is a top secret location, then as the... fiancé. They were a fiancé of someone who works there and has clearance. They would probably have to go through some kind of clearance process as well.
Yes.
Just basic screening at least, and then some additional, like, to get access to the
space.
Absolutely,
yeah.
So that's a good candidate. And we see that he's really interested in the science.
General, these creatures come from a race far more advanced than our own. There's no telling what they can teach us. We have to try to communicate with them.
But the square-jawed, cigar-chomping General Denning, a colonel or whatever, he's got 3 stars, 4 stars on his epaulets.
That makes him a general.
He's just square-jawed and concerned. Oh, we're dropping out of warp. We've got to take a quick break there, and we'll be right back with you.
Which means we are now back in 1947.
Oh, no. Well, I hadn't quit smoking in 1947.
You weren't born in 1947.
So it can't hurt me.
Maybe this is the divine treasury.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. The divine treasury is made of pure latinum. Besides, where's the blessed exchequer? Where are the celestial auctioneers? And why aren't we bidding for our new lives?
I wonder what you're supposed to bid with.
Yeah.
You don't think we're in the other place?
The vault of eternal destitution?
Don't be ridiculous. The bar was showing a profit.
It's like...
Because apparently, like, does this mean that in their religion, your last quarterly statement determines where you're going to go?
I suppose, yes. Maybe. Yeah.
So no wonder Quark thinks that, like...
The speed of technological advancement isn't nearly as important as short-term quarterly gains.
Yes.
Because that's the ones that get you into heaven.
No, true. So, yes, the whole half the platoon marches in, guns drawn, and there is an attempt at communication. Okay, this is definitely played for laughs here. Because the Ferengi realize that they're like have problems with their universal translators, and the humans think like, oh yeah, the way they're tapping their heads, that maybe they're just, it's a greeting or whatever. So everybody starts to do that, and the Ferengi are going like, oh, what are they doing? Oh, they're just mimicking us, and you get, And
Quark tries it. He slaps his cheek, walks up to one of these
pinches his nose.
People.
Yes, the whole shebang.
Oh, and I was kind of getting a flashback to Gene Wilder from Blazing Saddles, where he goes, regular folk, hardworking people salt of the earth, morons.
Yeah. Quark immediately with the sexual harassment again.
Gren fatarik umax. Yatafa.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what he says, but like what the human woman says is distorted gibberish. And Quark's reply is Gren fatak umox, but so...
Gren is you. There's something that, like, if you look at the other lines that are said, so you...
Fatak,
or maybe would you like to learn?
Oh, yes, or do you give umogs? Do you know how to give umogs?
And she goes, meh. I thought it was really well done. How the English spoken by the English speakers was sort of cut up into gibberish.
Yeah, sometimes you could make it out, sometimes you couldn't, yeah.
Yeah, it was clearly sort of tape cutting, and if you read the subtitles, but yeah, some of the Ferengi is subtitled, some of it isn't. I thought it was really well done.
We do learn a very interesting little bit of information here, though.
Ooh.
I've given them every medical test I can think of, but the only thing I can tell you for sure is they're not human.
And then there's a little discussion, because like they see Rom and Nog interact, and they feel like, oh, they might be father and son.
Because the older one is grooming the younger one.
But then they think that...
For all we know, it could be the mother.
So where do they base this up? I mean, like primary or secondary sexual dimorphism between Ferengi? It's like, how did they decide that Rom and Nog are male and Quark might be female after they've given every perceivable test, which presumes meaning no pants o'clock?
Yeah, well, we don't know what anybody has anywhere.
I
right?
know,
we'd have to go into the library at Starbase 69 to see what do Ferengi have wherever they have whatever they have. I don't know. It may just be assumption, like in the way that Ferengi seem to be able to detect the females of other species and somehow find them attractive, despite them just having way different proportions. And that's how Star Trek be, because it's written by white Californians historically.
Sure. I mean, it kind of reminds me of what's it called again? Oh, what's that comic called again? It's like the sexy one, the weird...
Gold Digger?
No.
No,
like it's the other one. It's like, come on, it's the one
sexy comic
with weird Oglaf, yes.
Sorry, now I heard myself say the one with the sex in it. Oglaf, yes, it's Oglaf.com. Check it out. It's a sex positive, wonderfully horny and nerdy comic with some great jokes.
But yeah, so there's a bunch of shots where you have like a male troll, which is the typical troll, the female troll, which is kind of like a human, which is kind of trollish coloring and features, and then you get that for for 3 or 4 or 5 different species, and then you get a naked human pen, and people. Like, why are human males so ugly? They don't really look like anything. They just kind of look like females, but without the breasts. It's like
yeah. So this is also prevalent in like anime, where you have like alien or animal style creatures, where the males are like, male werewolves are full on wolves with snarling muzzles, and the female werewolves are just hot chicks with ears. Usually,
yes, exactly.
Like the Neko girl, also in the excellent comic by the excellent comic Black Sad.
Oh, yes.
Same deal. You have anthropomorphic characters, and the males are very anthropomorphic, and the
women, they have just like
hot chicks with tails.
Yeah. It seems to be a weird trope.
But yeah, I mean, in the 40s, many people were not very experienced with sort of the variety. Although I say that, on the other hand, do you know the photos of Nazi book burnings?
Yes.
Which are very famous.
Oh, that most of those were like the collection on transsexuality research.
Yes, from a clinic specializing in sexual health that had for decades been performing various surgeries and therapies for people in the various gender spectra.
Yeah,
the gender reassignment
just
much more normal.
And just look at the situation now. It's like the fascists are going for the transsexuals again.
Yeah.
Huh. Funny that.
Yeah. That's amazing how things...
Okay, like, this is not original by me, but you know how everybody goes like, if you ever wondered what you were doing, why the people in Germany didn't act out when the fascists were on the rise, just look around you and wonder why people aren't acting up against the fascists on the rise.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, some people are. Many of those people we count among our listeners and among
our friends.
Yes, but I was going to say lemon-stealing whores, which supports us on Patreon. Which we have trans and envy and queer listeners and lemon-stealing whores. And we
all of them.
And we are also lemon-stealing whores. And we are also queer. And we'll get through this together, especially when we have Star Trek to unify us all. Because now the sort of discussion between the scientist and the nurse.
Here's another scene like you were talking about, like how he lights up 2 cigarettes and passes one to her.
Oh, yeah, like in a sort of sharing ritual that they're performing. But it's really human as well, because he's also talking about, like,
here we are in the middle of one of the greatest discoveries in human history, and all I can think about is what you're going to look like in your wedding dress.
Yes.
Because that's what they've got to look forward to.
He's got the horns.
He's in love.
The Ferengi, meanwhile, are having a discussion about, they radiate their own atmosphere, they smoke poison. It's like, this is going to be a cakewalk.
Yeah. Because, yes, that's what Rom's figured out. All their universal translator woes are coming from the prevalence of ionizing radiation.
Yeah.
From fissile reactions, which, come on, nobody does those inside their own atmosphere.
No. Also, the amount must be tiny, because like in 1947, there have been like less than half a dozen nukes that have been set off at any given point.
So by 1947, I mean, even if it's not nuclear reactions, there's just fissile material.
Right. But it's like
wherever they are.
I mean, you can't tell me that you don't have that floating around in other places in space. But anyway, yeah, there's a little bit.
Wait, hang on. The distribution of radioactive byproducts from fission reactions is so enormous that, like, carbon dating doesn't work for anything older than 1947.
Yeah,
because it's just so chaotic and it's so prevalent that there's no way that it overwrites.
And pre-1945 steel is very valuable for use in radiation instruments.
Oh wow, yeah, because it's uncontaminated by radiocarbon in the atmosphere.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow. Wow. So are there really like people going to like antique?
It's mostly old warships and stuff like that. Stuff with large amounts of steel in it, or earlier days of steel building, steel construction in a high-rise construction. Yeah, anything pre-World War II is.
Wow, so you don't have to bother like centrifuging the.
Yeah, you can't. It's like because
that's true.
So I had actually noticed, like, okay, so why is there a complete lack of attention from the humans about the ship? But there's a little bit. We get to see a few photos. It's a little bit lampshaded here.
Well, there's a mention that they've investigated the ship and they've seen a small interior space at the front that seems to be a control room, but they can't make heads or tails of it.
No.
Amazing that they have access at all. You'd expect that to be locked up tight on the Ferengi ship.
Well, they got the Ferengi out.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Yeah, they would otherwise still be sort of rotting.
It's probably got arrows picking out and like pull this for emergency opening, kind of stuff like that.
Rom sees what he needs. It is a hairpin.
Yeah, and he starts fixing Nog's translator.
Shoves it deep into that old.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. So after they get back, the communication problem has been resolved.
Yeah,
and Quark goes into his sales pitch. Hello, I am here to bring you technological marvels.
Yeah.
Advance your society 400 years overnight.
If you want weapons, I'm the man to see. We could teach you to make phasers, disruptors, photon torpedoes, or even quantum torpedoes. A little more expensive, but worth it.
And you see the emotions.
Finest merchandise this side of the River Jordan on sale today.
Yeah, absolutely. He was the Robin Williams sales merchant in Aladdin. Absolutely, he had his whole spiel there ready. This is maybe what they learn in the Ferengi Academy.
First contact Ferengi style.
Yeah, exactly. They learn this instead of the prime directive. This is the list of things that you offer to a primitive, and you make sure that you ask for a reasonable advance.
Yeah.
Because Colonel Denning does ask, what's this going to cost us? Well,
nothing you can't afford.
Yeah, about 100 million kilos of gold would be a good start.
Yes.
Dollars? Never heard of them. Don't you have any gemstones or precious minerals?
You mean like gold?
Gold is good.
How much gold are we talking about?
Apparently gold is not completely worthless.
No, we know that from Enterprise. That's what they're not even after platinum at that point. They're after gold. Gold is
but
just
there's also an episode of Deep Space Nine where they're after the bars of gold-pressed latinum, and Quark finds himself in a container full of gold-pressed latinum, and he grabs one of these bars and it crumbles in his hand.
Just gold. Where's the latinum?
All the latinum's gone. It's just worthless fucking gold.
Yes, I remember that scene quite well.
So it's interesting in this scene to follow Denning's expressions and see how...
Because he's not buying it. Because he recognizes Quark. He recognizes Quark for it. He even compares him to a used car salesman.
But the more we talk, the more you remind me of my brother-in-law.
Is he a businessman?
He's a car salesman and not a very good one.
And he's nothing like me.
Because Quark has moved on from the carrot to the stick, which is like...
In other words, if we don't play ball, you're going to sell these advanced weapons of yours to the Russians.
I'd rather it didn't come to that. To be honest, I'd much rather work with you Australians.
Americans.
Whatever.
Americans, whatever.
Yeah. And he gets that thrown back at him later when it's...
You might be some kind of Martian.
Ferengi.
Whatever.
You all look alike. Oh, do you notice in these... Oh, it's really noticeable now we're looking in the GIFs how every time that we cut back and forth between Denning and Quark, the camera framing is closer. We get closer and closer and more intense.
He's blowing a lot of smoke. I mean, he tucks that cigar behind his teeth like 3 or 4 times.
Uh-huh.
It's like it's really obvious that they keep doing that.
So, yeah, Quark probably thinks he's doing better than he actually is.
Yes. Nog, however, he manages to get one up because like, oh yes, like my ear is hurting. Can you rub it a little bit more? And then he sits there moaning on the table while he gets himself some Umox.
Yeah. Now, are you sure you don't want me to get a ear, nose, throat specialist? No, the way you do it.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
And Rom goes, actually, my ears also?
Yes.
Pervert, man.
He is. So, yes, the humans have to head out because there's something going on. They need to talk to the president or something.
And they forget
the
their dog.
Yes.
Now, had you clocked that this dog was significant?
No, I had not.
They did that really well because he appears in a few other scenes and like the
they
scientists
just have the dog around, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he's just a guard dog.
Yeah.
He's a very good boy.
Yes. Okay, so who's the dog handler?
Yeah, unclear.
And how do they not recognize that this is
an unattended dog?
An unattended dog who just like happens to be around, or maybe what happened to the real dog?
Oh God!
So I've got a deleted scene here, right? Sitting right here.
You've got a deleted scene. I've got a fucking warp core.
Eject the warp core.
You can't have a story that involves like Odo assassinating and replacing a dog.
I wasn't talking about assassinating.
Okay, well, okay. Well, I'm looking forward to that deleted scene because
you have to go much further than this.
Well, the dog in question is a very good boy, is very amorous and goes up and puts his paws up against Quark's shoulders. And then, in a 1990s, not very good, but oh gosh, they sure did try hard, special effects, the dog transforms into
Odo. Hello, what are you doing?
Similarly pinning Quark down, not casting shadows on Quark.
Placing you under arrest for attempting to smuggle chemosite. Did you really expect me to believe that you were traveling all the way to Earth just to be nice to your nephew?
Yeah, okay. Take me to court, wherever.
Yeah.
None of your jurisdictions even exist right now.
But he goes like, okay, well, the ship is on the other side of the base, and we'll just have to get our way over there, and then we will be fine. Rom immediately has a plan, like...
If we find a sufficiently powerful energy source, we should be able to trigger a temporal surge in the subspace continuum and recreate the same kind of time warp that brought us here in the first place.
Yeah, and where are we going to get that amount of energy? Well...
Fortunately...
Fission would be nice. And, no, Odo gets down on all fours, presents the goods, and transforms back into a puppy.
Yeah.
Into a very good boy, very good service dog. So they have a plan to escape back to their own time with various levels of like, does Quark know that he's not going to be able to make a deal here at this point?
No, clearly not, because at this point he actually says like,
they're crude, gullible, and greedy.
You mean like you?
Yeah. These are humans I can understand and manipulate.
Uh-huh.
And he refuses to leave. And Odo goes like, well, we shall see about that.
And then the American soldiers reappear and put bags over everyone's heads.
Yes, because the general has come back with orders from the piano-playing Democrat, and he tells them that, like, okay, now it's time to, like, stop being Mr. Nice humans. We're going to...
That is Eisenhower?
Truman.
47?
Truman, I think.
Truman.
Yeah.
All right. And the environment that they wake up in is much less appealing. You've got that disastrous overhead light that means you're going to be interrogated.
Yes. And the sodium pentothal is getting broken out. And
yep, being administered by a very reluctant nurse.
Yes, I mean, damn right she'd be reluctant. It's like you just don't go injecting alien species willy-nilly with just drugs. You have no idea what it's going to do to them.
Uh-huh.
It's like, this is a truth drug. It works on you. Doesn't work very well, I believe, but...
No, I mean, calling it a truth drug is like calling... Oh, what's a good example? Like calling... Oh, yeah, cyanide, a skin tone adjuster. It does, in fact, change the skin tone of people who are given cyanide, but that's not like the main thing that it does.
No, true.
Oh, did you notice this nurse, by the way?
Isn't it the same from earlier?
Her? Do you recognize her?
No.
So this is Megan Gallagher, who previously played Mariel in DS9's Invasive Procedures, where someone stole Dax's symbiont.
I remember her.
And she was the lover of that person.
Yes.
Yeah, so apparently in this script, for one of the casting directions was, a Megan Gallagher type. And it passed the desk of her agent at the time who said, she might actually be available.
Is she free? Yeah. Well, why not then? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And so it was offered straight to her, which, for an actor is always nice. When you get an offer, you don't have to audition.
Yeah, very good. So after the sodium pentothal doesn't work, they break out the scalpel and they threaten people in turn. Rom caves like a house of cards the moment he gets...
Immediately.
Yeah.
It was an accident. We're from the future. The warp core was sabotaged. It's all Cousin Gaylor's fault. I want to go home. I want my Moogie.
Moogie?
But it's Nog who has the right idea. Who says, all right, fine, you're on to us.
Yeah.
And we were here to, I don't know, to sort of scout out your women.
We've been watching you for centuries. We have you're ripe for conquest. We will kill the men and take the women for breeding. And funnily enough, that resonates with him because now we understand it. We don't understand why people would travel through space and time for profit.
That makes no sense.
But to do it to conquest. I mean, it's kind of good. It's like the beginning of the Cold War mindset, which is starting to settle in here. So
this is the value of homework, guys, because this is Nog's been reading this and he realizes this is what they're expecting. So you've got to give them something that they expect in order to be believed. And he's got a brilliant strategy.
Well, except that Quark tries to undermine it by going, no, we're helpless, we're harmless, we just want to sell you things.
Yeah, but this lieutenant or whatever he is, he's got wings or bars. He's got 2 bars on his collar. I don't know what that means.
No idea.
But he's convinced that Nog's telling the truth. So he tries to press Nog for more information.
The first landing parties will arrive here.
Where?
Here, right by this blue blob.
You mean your people are going to invade Cleveland?
Yeah, putting a finger on
no, not
on
Cleveland.
A map somewhere.
Right here, and he elbows him in the nuts.
Yeah, and that's about as far as their sort of escape attempt goes. Except that
the scientists turn on the military people.
Yes, the last MP is taken out by the scientists with a
clipboard.
Yeah. Oh, clipboard. Yeah, that one goes to the nurse. She takes care of the other one. And then they free these aliens from another world out of compassion and a desire that their first contact with another species shouldn't be based on mistrust and aggression.
The 2 guards at the door are very easily distracted. Oh, quickly, come inside. The general needs you.
Well, the general is not in this room. We saw him leave, but whatever.
Whatever.
And they get, I guess, killed?
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well, we don't know. They're just asked.
Judo chopped.
No, not even that. Because they go left, and the moment they're around a corner, everybody else comes from around the right.
Yeah, it's even stupider. Yeah, that's great. And the scientist and the nurse and the 3 Ferengi run away until they're stopped by it's the general, the general and more MPs. And Quark tries to take a hostage, putting his finger against.
Yes, with your finger.
With my death ray.
It's a lot like a finger to me.
Fortunately, in the background, Odo was pretending to be a spare tire.
He wasn't he?
And he was hanging on the back of the Jeep.
That's right. And he judo chops, pantak jab, pantak jab, pantak jab. All the Americans. They steal the vehicle. He takes them over to Hangar 18 where they're reunited by their craft.
Yes, the scientists say their goodbyes. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. See you around.
I only hope that one day mankind will travel to the stars and take its place in a vast alliance of planets.
Federation of planets.
Yeah, it's really nice, though.
Yes.
It's really sweet for the nurse and her companion.
There's a little bit of trouble getting the ship to fly straight up, because there's definitely some dents being banged into the side of the hangar before the ship emerges and flies off.
Into
a nuclear test. Yeah.
Test, which is real footage that was cleaned up really well for this episode.
Oh, yeah.
This was inspired by, it was written in 94, and Ira Stephen Bear had just seen True Lies with Jamie Lee Curtis and Arnold Schwarzenegger, directed by James Cameron.
Where the Florida Keys get blown up by a nuke, if I recall correctly.
And the nuclear explosion, is a backdrop for a romantic kiss of the leads who have been going through emotional troubles together. And he was just incensed. Like, what has our civilization come to that we can look at something as monstrous as a nuclear detonation, some of the most destructive forces that we've ever conjured, and consider that romantic. So he felt, okay, we're a lost people. We might as well have fun with it. So now a nuclear explosion is a scientific solution to a stupid time shenanigans problem.
I mean, stupid time shenanigans always have stupid solutions anyway. So it's.
Hey, maybe that's something we just need to be stupider with our chief in order to bring him into. Oh no,
we want more shenanigans. But the return trip succeeds. They get hailed by the presumably local ship control around Earth orbital control, and just on time.
Just come out of warp. Just come out of warp. Yikes!
Just come out of warp. But yes, problem solved. They get back. Quark has to sell the shuttle for scrap.
Yeah.
But it makes him enough money to get tickets back to DS9.
Where he's dejected because he had such plans, and he also missed out on his opportunity to sell chemosite.
Yes, which he's now being arrested for by Odo.
Taking you to a holding cell? Chemosite smuggling is a serious offense.
But you have no evidence.
But Quark goes, you don't have proof. You literally don't have proof.
It's your word that I had that you saw it on board my ship.
Exactly.
Never made it to Earth.
I never brought it. No, I didn't bring it. Well, I didn't bring it to Earth under its current jurisdiction.
Yeah, exactly.
And it never made it back. So but Odo is not so easily swayed. Yeah, tell it to the judge.
But
and Rom kind of goes, "Oh, don't worry,
Rom, get me a lawyer. I'll contact Cousin Gala. I'm sure he'll know a good one. Rom, you idiot! See you in a few weeks, brother."
Which is how long Quark's arrests usually seem to last.
It seems to be like however. It's like with the the traveling judge. You get thrown in the jail until the judge comes by your little backward western town village.
Oh wow, yeah, that's right.
And then you're like, oh, it's like you got the hanging judge. It's.
Oh no. Oh okay. Can you turn this around, because that's a really sort of ominous image to leave this fantastic episode with now that it's concluded, because because that puts such a spin on Rom's grin that we end with. Like,
ooh, well, he was openly fantasizing about Quark gallivanting off and not returning.
Never returning, yeah. Okay, well, anyway. That was a fun episode. Until you sort of planted that little seed in the back of my mind. Fortunately, we know things turn out okay for Quark. And
as they always do, because it's a Rick Berman era Star Trek.
Big red reset button. Although DS9 had a lot more flexibility, because Berman eventually moved on to Voyager, and then it was the writing staff and Ira Stephen Bear who had a lot more freedom.
Yep, I mean, got rid of. They didn't have to listen to Berman. They didn't have to listen to Roddenberry.
Roddenberry was dead at this point.
Oh, was he already? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Oh.
On to our segment, starting off with our MVP for the episode, Kay. Who is your pick? Who do you think was
so fucking cool?
Oh, let's see. I think Rom gets it to me.
Oh, damn it, he was going to be mine.
I can have Nog.
Oh, thanks.
Right, I mean, Odo was pretty good as well. Odo was a good boy.
He was a very good boy. Oh, yeah. Oh, imagine Odo, who can't do a realistic human nose, but he can do a full-on canine schnoz.
Dog nose. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and like he let everybody pet him.
Yes.
There's a whole scene where the scientist and the general are talking, and he's like, "Oh, he's a good boy. He's a good boy." And wag, wag, wag,
but
wag,
who knows that?
me.
Like, yeah.
It's me.
So yes, in order for that to be possible, he would have had to very accurately replicate the real dog. So probably what my theory
it's
is that
Terminator 2 rules.
Well, probably. I mean, any dog handler, any pet owner would immediately recognize if the dog is not a very good replica of their own dog.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
So it can't just be a dog. So
no, you're
first
right.
there has to be a little bow chicka wow wow scene where a rather a very pretty German Shepherd of the opposite gender seduces this dog. Like,
oh wait, okay. So Odo first has to be
A dog of the opposite gender.
Yes, has to be because I think this is a boy dog, so he has to be a
Let's
girl
assume
dog.
that.
So that
or whatever this particular dog is interested in.
Yeah.
And
Odo could just sort of cycle through
exactly.
Few options.
Do a little lead off. Maybe just does a sexy little poodle who just like manages to like seduce the dog away, stows him away somewhere in a closet, and then impersonates that dog. And
wow, that is elaborate.
Well, that's how it goes.
All right. Well, so you've done your MVP
Actually, I've got another one there that I can take my deleted scene where we imagine a scene.
Wow.
I can go to second.
So you're already heading to the
supplemental.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, hit it.
So I noticed that the way they don't call it the bathroom or the toilet, they call it the waste extractor.
You're right. Oh, that is.
So now I'm getting Galaxy Quest flashbacks. So for those people, this is an actual deleted scene which is on the Galaxy Quest DVD.
Oh,
where it's basically scenes where that didn't make it into the movie. There's a few fantastic ones in there. I heartily recommend it. And one of them is where
they have their own
Captain's log supplemental.
Yes, where what's his name again? Alan Rickman's character.
Oh yeah, I don't actually know. Oh, Dr. Lazarus.
Dr. Lazarus, yes.
I know that. That's in my brain. I don't know my boyfriend's phone number, but I know that.
He gets shown to his quarters, and it's like, oh, well, we weren't exactly sure about your needs, but based on some assumptions that we made and about your things we know about your body type, like this is the bathroom, and it's kind of like a really complicated thing with lots of tubes and screws, and like, it looks horrific. So I can't imagine that like to be the waste extraction system for the.
Oh, if only. I always imagined that it would be just a little like micro transporter that you sit on, and you have a little sort of
a bowel movement.
Hey. It just gets beamed out. Oh,
yeah.
Who did I think was
so fucking cool?
Do you know what? Nog.
Yeah.
Because this is really a moment that's terrifying for a lot of young people. Moving out of your home,
going to university or college or whatever, or just like moving out.
And we see him dealing with all of that. Like he really feels that when he's walking away from that spot with Jake.
Yeah.
Knowing like Jake gets to stay behind and still enjoy that.
Yeah.
He puts on a brave face, and he actually like commits himself to this idea. I'm going to do something that's going to change my life forever.
Yes, and he's going to be the first Ferengi in Starfleet.
Yeah. And he has all these people around him who support him. He's earned their respect and their love, and he wants to make them proud. Oh, I'm choking up a little bit just thinking about that because we know how it turns out for him, right?
All right.
He does well at Starfleet Academy, and he returns with his head held high and performs valuable service during the coming Dominion War. As for the
Captain's log supplemental,
I can't imagine that the Bureau of Temporal Investigations wasn't fully on top of this. So I imagine that there's a scene where that dog that was first seduced and then drugged so that Odo could replace him, then sort of transformed themselves because they were
they were already an agent.
They were already an agent.
Yes.
Okay. Whoops! How am I going to explain this one to my superiors now?
Can you just imagine, like, the control room of the temporal agency, and they're like, "I'm not fucking Roswell again."
Oh yeah, just in the way. His shuttle, Quark shuttle, has one of 6 lights, is exclusively for hailing frequency opening. They must have one of 19 lights just for the top left is James Kirk, and the top right is Roswell again. Ugh. I mean, it even had that when we were looking up this episode on our Plex library, which is Little Green Men. Oh, do you mean Little Green Men from X-Files? No. Do you mean it from Star Cops?
No,
whatever
also not.
that is. Little Green Men and Other Martians? No. So, hey, but we've
made it to the end. Yes.
Wonderful episode, recommended to us by Brian Love, Blackrain from the Gold Digger podcast. Thank you so much. There'll probably be a link in the show notes if you're a fan of Gold Digger and you would like the experience of someone who's never experienced it before being guided through. This is your chance. But next week,
what has our chief engineer prepared for us?
Returning to Star Trek, and as always, he's left behind some clues from one of our lemon stealing. I just love saying it so much. For those of you who are confused, Well, there's probably been a bit of a clip of that previously, but the full episode is on Patreon, which you can find by going to joyoftrek.com/links. And then you can find the link to our Patreon where you can help us pay those pesky bills that we unfortunately have to pay. And you can also send in your recommendations for episodes that you'd like to hear us talk about. Much like Brian Love did today, but also many others have sent us recommendations of mediocre or unloved episodes.
Yes, we want to hear the episodes that you love more than anybody else, and you would like you to tell us why. And we will watch it and talk about it.
Because we like diverse voices and just love Star Trek so much that we love sharing it with other people. So let's see which one has been recommended to us for next week.
Screw the Prime Directive.
Okay, that could be anything.
Yes.
But the word screw, is that a Kirk thing?
I'd be tempted to say that, yes.
It's not Picard.
It's not Picard, it's not Riker. Well, it could be Riker, but not likely.
Little bit.
Yeah.
Under stress, it could be a Riker.
Yeah.
Janeway, I don't think would say it.
No.
And probably Cisco also wouldn't say it.
It doesn't seem like,
All right, let's see what the next clue is.
It's the 80s, dude. We don't have psychiatric problems.
Whoa.
Another time travel episode?
Is it a time travel episode? Oh, that would be amazing.
When you get to hell, tell the paw race that Shax sent you.
Well.
It's Lower Decks.
It's clearly Lower Decks.
Oh, my God. Oh, I don't recognize these at all.
Yeah, I'm completely out of my depth here, so if it's anything past the first season.
Oh, that's right. Oh, let's hope.
No, it's a movie. You can beam whatever you want. You can do all sorts of beaming stuff in a movie.
Beaming stuff in a movie? Oh, this is so exciting. We got one more clue, and then we're going to find out what it is. Here we go.
We talking warp core? Ooh, baby, I'm in.
That sounds like, what's his face, cyborg guy.
Oh, yeah, Rutherford. Samantha Rutherford. Yeah. Oh, I don't remember which episode this is. I'm so excited. Let's find out.
The episode is Lower Decks 109, Crisis Point.
Crisis Point. So it is in season 1.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if clearly I've not seen all of it because this doesn't ring a bell. But then again, it didn't ring a bell for you and you have seen it all, so.
Yeah, but I'm so excited. Okay, so next time we're doing Crisis Point from season 1 of Lower Decks. Please join us again. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. I'm really excited to hear how and why that was recommended.
Oh, yes.
But in the meantime, we just have one more question.
The hell is this?
I'm leaving Starfleet.
Energize!
We hope you've enjoyed this week's episode with friends Kay and Kaki, production and editing by our chief engineer Greg, and music by Fox Amore. Join us next time for Crisis Point, Lower Decks 109. Visit joyoftrek.com/links to send us a recommendation, support us on Patreon, or to find us on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for listening to The Joy of Trek, and we'll see you out there.